Welcome to this 5-minute horse lessons DVD. In this DVD, you will learn how to adjust your reins, and you'll also learn the 5 ways to steer your horse. First, we're going to talk about how to adjust your reins. We'll talk about your major adjustment and your hand adjustments and also your finger adjustments. And then, Katie and I here will walk you through an overview of the 5 ways to steer your horse using your direct rein, your disengage rein, your inside and outside reins, neck reining, and finally we'll cover the halt and the backup. We'll talk a lot about keeping your hands in your power position as you're adjusting your reins and steering your horse. At the end, you'll want to check out the extras, where you'll find more information about the power of 5 repetitions, and also several segments that detail more of the riding techniques that you're going to learn in this DVD. The concept of 5-minute horse lessons is that each segment takes 5 minutes or less. But after those 5 minutes, it's up to you to learn and internalize that information, whether that takes 5 minutes, 5 hours, 5 days, 5 months. Well, you get the idea. Many of these exercises are demonstrated under saddle and on the ground. So I urge you to grab a set of reins or a piece of rope and practice as you view. And just a moment about bits and spurs. All of these exercises are meant to be practiced with a snaffle bit. Full cheek, O-ring, D-ring, egg-shaped, it makes no difference which one you choose. The snaffle bit is important because we want your horse to feel that pull on the outside of its mouth. Also, no spurs, please. I will talk about leg position during the sessions as needed, but these exercises are about you learning how to use your reins. The secret to successful horseback riding is to manage your horse's bend, no matter the discipline. And by learning to use your reins properly, you open up a whole new world of possibility for you and your horse. All right, let's get started. Before we learn how to use our reins to steer our horses, we need to learn how to adjust our reins. First up, your major rein adjustment. The major rein adjustment. Anytime you need to adjust your reins more than 6 inches, you'll do a major rein adjustment. You will take the top of your rein, pull it up, and place it down. This extra piece of rein, or this loop that is in your rein, is called a bite, B-I-G-H-T. It's important that you learn how to adjust this bite because too often what I see is when people are adjusting their reins, they tend to tie this bite into a knot in their hand. And pretty soon you don't know what is rein or what is bite or where exactly it is that you should be talking to your horse. So it's important that you learn how to adjust your bite. To begin to adjust your bite, first find the very center of your reins. Here I have a small piece of leather woven into my reins to show the exact center. If you have a set of leather reins, you'll have a buckle in the center of the reins, or you might put a piece of tape right in the center of your reins. So go ahead and grab right in the center, and what I'll do is I'll put that right between my middle finger and my ring finger, and then I will make a small loop in my other hand, keeping my lower hand neutral, and I'm just going to raise this up and lower it several times, and then I'm going to switch my hands and do that as well. When I switch my hands, it's important that you come to your other hand first and just grab your reins right at the point of your other hands. When I'm riding, I cannot see my hands, so it's very important that my hands communicate with one another. After I've grabbed my reins in my other hand, I'm going to go ahead and grab my very small bite right here and go ahead and adjust that several times as well. Try to keep your bite going straight up and straight down. That way gravity works with you. If you pull back like so, then I can't press that rein back through my hand. So bring it straight up and straight down. This also keeps your hand in this power position. If you think about having a 12-inch square from the middle of my saddle horn forward and out to the side, we want to keep our hands in that power position all of the time. It's important to remember that when you are adjusting your bite, your horse should not react by putting its head up or backing up at all. If that is happening, you're already cueing your horse. When you adjust your bite, your horse should have no reaction at all. Now that you know how to adjust your bite, like so, you need to do something with it, which is place it down to the side. I will always place my bite to the side in which my free hand is. My neutral hand will always stay right in my power position, So I'm going to come to my other hand, grab my bite, slide up. I'm going to slide that down and bring it up again, and I'm going to place it off to the side. And now I'm going to switch hands. Again, come to my hand, grab my rein. Now come over the top of my other hand, letting my hands talk to one another. Bring my bite up, slide it down, bring it back up, and then place my bite over. There are several things you can do with your bite as well. One is, of course, just place it off to the side. If I'm riding young horses, that's often all that I will do. If you're involved in competition, sometimes you'll want to put this bite underneath your rein like so that your reins actually are on top and your bite is underneath your reins. That just gets your bite out of the way. Another thing that you can do with your bite is as you bring it up and place it forward and go to two hands, you can place what's called a roll, a California roll or a buckaroo roll, and you'll just practice moving this little roll back and forth. Now practice with the power of 5 repetitions. I'm going to go ahead and grab the middle of my rein, and I'm going to pull this up once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, and 5 times. Place my bite down. Now I'm going to switch hands, go to my other hand, let my hands talk to one another. And now I'm going to leapfrog that hand, reach up, grab my bite, keep a little loop in it, once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, lay that bite down. That is the power of 5 repetitions. If you are not controlling your bite is controlling you. In the next segment, we'll continue with this concept of controlling your bite, and we'll take on hand adjustments. The hand adjustment. When you need to adjust your reins 2 to 6 inches, you'll do what's called a hand adjustment. First, you'll go ahead and control your bite. You'll switch to 2 hands, and then you'll make your hand adjustment. Your hand adjustment is much easier to practice on the ground without your horse in the way. What I've done is I've grabbed my set of reins and I've placed some tape all the way down here. You can see I've got some white, blue, green, yellow, red, and black. So the first thing that you need to do is make your major adjustment, just like so. And I'm going to make sure that I come down to my white tape here. And when I go to 2 hands, this is very important now. You need to make sure that you come to the top of your other hand and pinch right above that hand so that you are sure that you have even reins. Too often what I see is when riders go to 2 hands, they grab like so, and they give their horse a good yank just for good measure, and you can see that the reins are very much not even. So as you go from 1 hand to 2, make sure that you come to your other hand. Again, when I'm riding, I cannot see my hands, so it's important that my hands communicate. Once you separate to 2 hands, to do your hand adjustment, what you'll do is you'll bring 1 hand over and pinch right on the top of your other hand, and then slide down, grab at the next piece of tape, and then press this up so that your bite is getting larger. And then again, I'm going to slide down now to my green, and then press that through my other hand. And then slide down, grab that, press it up and through, slide down, grab it, press it up, and go through, slide down, up. And then from here, you'll do the opposite. So now I'm going to pull my bite smaller, and then slide up and grab, pull my bite smaller, slide up, grab, pull my bite smaller, slide up, grab, pull my bite smaller, slide up, grab, and one more time, and now we're back to our even hands. And then we'll do it the opposite. So I'm going to come over and pinch right at my white piece of tape, slide down, make my bite larger, slide down to my green tape, slide that through my hand, slide down at my yellow, push that up through, slide down, push it up through, one more time to the black, push it up. So now I'm at my black. I'm going to go ahead and pull my bite smaller, slide up, grab, pull that rein out, slide up, grab, pull that rein out, making my bite smaller, slide up, pull it out, slide up, pull it out, and then I'm back to my white. When you're making your rein adjustments, it's important that you think about having one hand neutral all the time. Here I've got a red wrap around my wrist, and so as I make my major adjustment, you can see that I'm holding that hand very neutral, and all of the work is going on with my left hand right now. So as I place that down, then this arm has not moved. Now when I go to 2 hands, same thing. I'm going to come to my top of my hand and separate. And now when I do my hand adjustments, I'm going to go ahead and make sure that one hand is always neutral. And then when I go back the other way, always my hand in my power position here is going to remain very neutral. And of course, that same concept applies when you're going to adjust with your other hand. So I'll bring my hand up, pick up my bite, bring it up, keeping my neutral hand very neutral. If I separate to two hands, and now my red hand will be neutral, and in this case, my right hand will do all of the work. So as I'm sliding down, pressing up, sliding down, pressing up, and then going the opposite way as well. And now the power of 5 repetitions with hand adjustment. I'm going to go ahead and start with one hand. I'm going to go to two hands, so I'm going to separate, and here we go. I'm going to slide down once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, and then back the other way. Slide it out, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, slide up, make sure that my rein is nice and even, and now to the opposite side. I'm going to come over and pinch, slide down once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, and now the opposite. Slide up once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, separate to two hands, go ahead and lift that bite up, and place it down. That is the power of 5 repetitions. Now we've covered both your major adjustment and your hand adjustments. The next segment will be all about finger adjustments. The finger adjustment. When you need to adjust your reins from 1 millimeter to 2 inches, you'll do a finger adjustment, which looks like this. You'll go to two hands and just adjust your reins using your fingers. That keeps your hands right in your power position, so all of the work is happening with your fingers. It's much easier to work on your finger adjustments when you're not on your horse as well. So here I've got some pieces of tape on my rein, and I'm just going to show you a close-up of how that finger adjustment works. So first I'm going to pinch with my index finger and my thumb, and I'm going to reach down with my ring finger and my pinky finger. And now I'm going to hold the weight of my rein between my pinky and ring finger, and then bring these first two fingers down so they touch. And now I'm going to drop here, and then reach down and grab at my blue, and then I'll release here, and then come down and touch again. So what I'm doing is I'm bringing my rein up as I'm making the adjustment. So I'm holding the pressure of the rein, grabbing here, now I'm holding the pressure of the rein there, and then coming up. And you'll want to practice this until it becomes very easy. And it's going to take a bit of work. I'm just going to raise my hand here so that I can let gravity work with me a little bit here. But that's how your rein adjustment works. You really just need to get your middle finger out of the way so that your other fingers can work together. And then of course you'll try it with your opposite hand as well. You have your thumb and your index finger. You're going to reach down with your ring finger and your pinky, and then touch those fingers together, and then move them down your rein like so. At first, go very slowly, and then start to pick up your speed. But it's important that as you are doing these, that you're very specific about how you're moving your fingers. You don't want to have any slop or drop in there. So make sure that you hold your rein here, and now release that, but make sure you're holding your rein there. Bring your fingers together, just like so. Now try your finger adjustments with both hands. So go ahead and grab your reins, make sure that you've got a nice even rein, and then both hands together. So you're pinching and releasing, you're making your bite larger, and then you'll go ahead and do the opposite, making your bite smaller as well. And when you're making your finger adjustments, both of your hands will remain neutral. So as your hands are neutral, your fingers will adjust your reins, and that allows your hands to be right in that power position, and your fingers will do all of the work. When you're practicing your rein adjustments, give yourself plenty of time and plenty of patience. It really is the first step in being able to whisper to your horse. And now the power of 5 repetitions with your finger adjustments. So I'll start with one hand, go to two hands, so I make sure that I grab right above my other hand, coming together with my white piece of tape, and get ready. Once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, and now opposite. Once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, and then 5 times. Go ahead and bring your hand back together, grab your bite, make sure it's adjusted. That is the power of 5 repetitions. And that's it. Those are the 3 ways that you need to adjust your reins. You've got your major adjustment or your bite adjustment. You'll go to 2 hands, make a hand adjustment, and then you have your finger adjustments as well. Now we'll start in on the 5 ways that you can steer your horse, starting with cueing for the direct rein. The cue for the direct rein is so important that it gets its own 5-minute segment. Everybody knows that the way you get your horse to do something is that you cue them. Cue, cue, cue. Your cue for the direct rein can be broken down into 4 parts. Number 1, loose rein. Number 2, finding your point of contact. Number 3, cue your horse. And number 4, irritate your horse. That last one should be easy. A quick overview of your cue for the direct rein on the ground. Number 1 is you'll start with a loose rein. Number 2 is you'll adjust your reins until you find your point of contact or point of communication. Number 3, you'll cue your horse. And number 4 is irritating your rein if your horse for some reason does not pay attention to your rhythmic cue. Let's break down your loose rein. Your loose rein is just that. Right now I've got a nice sloppy loose rein, but as I adjust my rein and bring it up, it's still a loose rein right now. It's still a loose rein until I get to my point of contact. And the point of contact is when I can just squeeze my hand, and in this case my chair will lean back, or that I've communicated with my horse. But until you get to this point of contact, it's all a loose rein. So this is a loose rein, this is a loose rein, this is a loose rein, this is a very sloppy loose rein. The point of contact is often a difficult concept for riders. Your point of contact is the point in which you can communicate with your horse. So as you adjust your rein from your loose rein, the point just shy of your cue, which is a squeeze of your hand, is your point of contact. The point of contact is really what separates people who whisper to horses and people who are needlessly being a little bit jerky with their horses, or a lot jerky with their horses. So to find your point of contact, again, you can adjust your loose rein, and if you squeeze and the chair does not move back, you have not found your point of contact. Adjust again, squeeze, oh, there my chair came back. So now if I release, I know that that is my point of contact. It shouldn't feel like anything. It shouldn't feel like 5 pounds or 4 pounds or 3 pounds. It should just feel like a little tension on my rein. So when I squeeze, there's my cue. When I release, that is my point of contact. And now the cue. After you've gone from your loose rein, adjusted your rein, found your point of contact, and then squeezed your hand and released it, that is your cue. Your cue should be rhythmic. I'm going to cue and release, squeeze and release, and then I'm at my point of contact and I will release to my loose rein. Think about your cue like a light switch. It is either in the on position or the off position. The difficult thing about horseback riding is that your horse is constantly moving. It's stretching, it's looking around, and so you need to find this point of contact and then cue and then turn it off, all while your horse is moving. And finally, the irritating rein. After you have adjusted your rein, your loose rein, to your point of contact, and you've squeezed for your cue, if your horse has for some reason ignored your rhythmic cue, you can jiggle your rein, vibrate it, irritate the rein, like so. And what that does is it will unlock your horse, get them to pay attention to your cue, so you can go back to your rhythmic cueing. Back to your point of contact, and then back to your loose rein. Let's look at that process one more time. I'm going to adjust my loose rein until I find my point of contact. I will squeeze for my cue, and if my horse ignores my cue, I will irritate that rein and then go back to my rhythmic cueing. That is how you develop those nice soft hands. So let's go try that on a horse. The direct rein controls the forequarter of your horse. You can see that Katie here has a blue wrap on her front left leg. When I'm using my direct rein to the direction left, that is in fact the leg that I am influencing. Now we're putting it all together. We've learned how to adjust your reins, adjust your bite, reach down, find your point of contact, and then cue, cue. And now I'm going to straighten right there. As I'm direct reining, I will adjust my rein, place my bite, reach down, find my point of contact, cue, cue. I'm going to straighten with my outside rein. And that is going to be the next 5-minute segment, the direct rein. Now, I'm being a little bit loose about the term direct rein here. If I have my hands in my power position right here, and I squeeze my hand, that is a direct rein. You'll hear the direct rein referred to as an open rein or a leading rein if my hand comes to the outside like so. But no worries, when you are doing an open rein or a leading rein, all you need to do is bring your hand out to the side, give a little squeeze, and it is still a direct rein. As you're practicing your direct rein, we're going to put everything that we've learned so far into order. So first thing I'm going to do is adjust my rein. I've got control of my bite, and I'm going to try to stay right on my white line. Again, we're going to run through everything we've learned. Adjust your rein. I've got my major adjustment. I'm going to switch to 2 hands. I'm going to make my hand adjustment, my finger adjustments, and when I need to, I will ask my horse to squeeze for that cue, squeeze my left hand for that cue. The circle is a perfect place for you to start figuring out if your horse has a lot of drift. Here, Katie is coming off of the circle, so I'm going to cue with my left hand, and now I'm going to cue with my right hand to say I need you to straighten out a little bit because she's drifting now onto that circle with her head to the outside. Finally, I'm going to ask her to bring that nose back to the center. So keep things nice and calm and easy. Try that in the direction left. After you've tried your circle in one direction, go ahead and take that circle in the opposite direction. Now that you've practiced your circle, go ahead and work on a square. The square is nice because you'll start working on a straighten as well. So again, adjust your reins, find your point of contact, and cue, cue. And now you're going to straighten your horse. And along these straightens, you'll see that you should not, or you may not need to, do a whole lot of steering. Find your point of contact, cue, cue. And now with my outside rein, I'm going to straighten her neck out. Try to be as soft and gentle as you can. I'm going to use my legs to keep her moving forward, so you can see me kind of fanning with my inside leg here. And remember, you're putting everything together. Adjust your rein, 2 hands, slide down, find your point of contact, and finally go ahead and cue, cue. Very nice, and straighten. Oh. And now the square in the opposite direction. So making sure your reins are adjusted, find your point of contact, and give a little cue. And then straighten with that outside rein. So of course my direct rein to the inside is always my blue rein right now. Find my point of contact and cue, cue. And I was a little late right there. And that wasn't my horse's fault, that was my fault. I'm up here talking about adjusting your reins and all this other stuff. So I was late. Here we go, adjust my rein, find my point of contact, and cue. Cue, and then straighten. Good girl, Katie. And during my straight right here, I really don't have to say very much to her at all. Slide down, point of contact, cue, cue. The other thing that you'll need to remember is as you're going through your turn, you may need to adjust your rein and cue, and now adjust your rein again and then cue again. Try not to cue too many times. That's oversteering your horse. I'm going to adjust my rein right there, my bite, and I'm going to cue. And if I keep cueing, and I keep cueing, and I keep cueing, well, now I've gone off my path. So remember, part of timing and feel is knowing when you're cueing too much and knowing when you haven't cued enough. And there you have the overview of your direct rein. Next up, the disengage rein. Your disengage rein controls the hind quarter of your horse. This time you can see that Katie has a white wrap on her inside left leg, and that is the leg that I will influence as I'm disengaging her hindquarter. So I'm going to put Katie on a 10-meter circle, and now I'm going to tighten that circle up just a little bit to about a 6-meter circle, and now I'm going to adjust my rein and go ahead and disengage that hindquarter. Now, now, now. And that is how you disengage your horse's hindquarter. Your disengage rein can be broken down into 4 parts. Number 1, direct rein your horse onto a 10-meter circle. Number 2, direct rein your horse onto a 6-meter circle. Number 3, gently twist your wrist and disengage your horse in a small circle. And number 4, gently release your horse into a straighten. And now the quick overview of your disengage rein on the ground. First thing you'll need to do is adjust your rein, and you're going to get your bend number 1 by giving a little direct rein. So just lift your chair off the ground a little bit, and then for your bend number 2, you're just going to tighten your rein a little bit more so you can bring your chair back just a tad bit more. And now at this point, I'm going to go from a 45-degree angle with my hand to a 90-degree angle right over my saddle horn, which is the disengage, and then I will undo the bends of my horse. So I'll go back to my normal 45-degree position, and then undo the bend number 2, and then undo bend number 1 until finally I can let my horse straighten like so. Now that you've done the ground exercises, this is a great exercise for you to start practicing disengaging your horse. I have my pattern set up here. I've got a 10-meter circle, a 6-meter circle, and a 3-meter circle. And I'm going to first walk Katie on the 10-meter circle. And I'm going to ask her to keep her body bent just like the arc of the circle that I'm on. So right now, as I'm on my 10-meter circle, I'm going to have her nose ever so slightly tipped in. I'm going to fan my inside leg. Oops, she's come a little bit to the inside right there. Now we're good. And again, the secret to successful horseback riding is managing your horse's bend. Of course, that's only after you're managing your rein and your bite, and you've worked on your rein aids, which we're doing right now. So now I'm on my 6-meter circle. This is the second bend that I need. And now I'm going to take my 3-meter circle. Lots of leg because your horse is going to want to stop right here. And now I'm going to disengage. Take my hand up, adjust my rein, come over my saddle horn, and I'm going to go all the way around this 3-meter circle. And we're disengaging that hind leg. And now I'm going to go back to my 6-meter circle, gently straightening her out. And now I'm going to go back onto my 10-meter circle. It's very important that as you do these disengages, that you are undoing the bends that you create. When you're doing a disengage live, that's going to be very quick. You're going to just take your hand out and twist your wrist up, and your horse is going to disengage very quickly. But as you are practicing, you want to make sure that you're doing it very slowly, very calmly, so that your horse learns to submit to that bit as you're disengaging. When you are applying your disengage rein pressure, you really are twisting your horse's head, neck, and spine. So please do be careful as you are learning this technique, especially if your horse has not done this before. Having said that, why would you want to disengage your horse? There are 4 very good reasons to disengage your horse. Number 1, it will help to stretch your horse. Number 2, to put your horse back into balance. If you're riding a young horse or a horse out of balance, a little adjustment with your disengage rein will put that hindquarter back underneath your horse. Number 3, discipline your horse. If your horse is getting chargy or breaking gait, you can put a slight disengage rein on your horse and discipline your horse. Number 4, an emergency stop. Practicing the disengage rein slowly trains your horse to submit to the bit during your emergency stop. Now that you've worked out the details of your disengage rein, you're ready to take on your inside rein. But first, let's define just exactly what inside and outside are. From this point on, I'll be throwing around the terms inside and outside quite a bit. Let's talk about what that means. Inside and outside doesn't have anything to do with, say, the mane being on the outside of your horse and its stomach being on the inside of the horse. It doesn't have anything to do with you being on the inside of the arena or on the outside of your arena. It has everything to do with the arc in which your horse is walking. I'm going to ask Katie to move along on this 6-meter circle right here. And as I'm walking this 6-meter circle, everything to the inside of this arc is the inside of my horse as well. So my blue rein, or my indigo rein right now, is the inside. My left leg, that one, is the inside leg. And conversely, everything to the outside of my arc is the outside of my horse. So my orange rein is the outside rein. My right leg is my outside leg. Now, that changes when I change the arc of my horse. So if I come to this point right here and I say, Katie, I want you to put your nose to the outside of this arc, now my circle means nothing to me anymore. That circle on my left is the outside of my horse. So now my orange rein is my inside rein. My blue rein is my outside rein. This is a counter arc circle, and we're going to talk more about that in the neck rein. But it's important for you to realize that right now, my inside rein is my orange rein, but as soon as I switch back, now my inside rein is once again my blue rein. And that is the quick explanation of inside and outside. Your inside rein gives your horse the life it needs in order for you to steer with your outside rein. Your inside rein can be broken down into 4 parts. Number 1, direct rein your horse onto a 6-meter circle. Number 2, lock, block, and anchor your inside rein to preserve that inside bend. Number 3, use your inside leg to reinforce the bend and urge impulsion. Number 4, put light contact on your outside rein and begin to steer. Here's a quick overview of your inside rein and then putting it together with your outside rein. I'm going to ask Katie to walk off here. And I've got a square set out, and the first thing I'm going to do is put her on my 6-meter circle. I'm just direct reining her onto this 6-meter circle. And about right here, I'm going to go ahead and lock, block, and anchor my inside rein. So I'm not going to let her change her bend from this 6-meter circle. I'm now using my inside leg, and now I've picked up my outside rein to steer. And as I come around here, I'm just going to lay this outside rein on her neck, and I'm going to preserve that inside bend here. I'm giving her lots of inside leg. From the overhead shot, you can see she has a bend around my inside leg. That's that 6-meter circle bend. As I come to this corner, my outside rein is doing all of the work. My inside rein is just locked, blocked, and anchored. Right now I've just got it against my pommel on my saddle, and I'm using lots of inside leg. Here comes my outside rein over. And now I'm going to move my fingers up into this power position, and I just want you to see that you can do all of this steering from this power position. So I'm going to come through, inside leg, but my outside rein is just ever so quietly laying against her neck. I'm preserving my bend with my inside rein. My hands are in my power position. I'm going to go ahead and make this last turn right here, and then turn in, turn in. All the steering is happening with my outside rein, my orange rein, and now I'm going to ask her to come to a halt. And that is the quick overview of your inside rein and how you would connect that to your outside rein. Good girl, Katie. Your inside rein locks and blocks a bend on your horse. So if I'm riding in my power position, I'm going to keep it locked right here. As you're learning, I'm going to urge you to either lock it against your pommel, or you can even reach back and pinch your jeans or your riding pants, like so. And you can see that Katie is keeping a nice bend to the left right here. Your horse will learn to respect that bend as long as you have a good, solid blocking inside rein. Now, once you block this inside rein, you need to be able to adjust it, and there's 2 ways to adjust this rein. The first is to use your finger adjustments, and I know you know how to do those because you've been practicing them. Another way that you can adjust this rein is by coming over with your outside hand and either adjusting looser or tighter, just like so. You need to be careful as you do that, that you have a nice loose grip on this outside rein so that as you come back, you're not pulling that head to the outside. So I'm going to let that rein slide through my hand, come here, adjust my inside rein, or make it longer, or make it shorter, just like so. So you can finger adjust, or you can bring your outside hand over and make an adjustment like this. But your inside hand must not move. Inside rein, lock and block it. Next up, the outside rein. The outside rein. I'll say again, using your inside and outside reins together opens up a whole new world to you. You will now start subtly changing the balance of your horse rather than steering your horse. Your outside rein can be broken down into 3 parts. Number 1, properly pick up your inside rein, lock, block, and anchor. Number 2, find your light contact on your outside rein. Number 3, use the sweeping U motion to subtly change the balance of your horse. The key to your outside rein is the sweeping U motion. First, I'm going to lock and block my inside rein, and from the overhead shot, then you can see that my hand moves out to the side and then back. You can see the rein, the orange rein lay against Katie's neck, and then I would take it back out to the side and then back in. And you need to keep light contact on this orange rein. I don't want to have it go slack and then slack and bang. Light contact and move it like so. Now that we've worked out the basics of the inside and outside rein, let's work this pattern. I've got a square with a 6-meter circle that I'll start on. So first I'm going to ask Katie to squeeze into a walk and just take this nice and slow, relax. Remember to adjust your bite. Here's my 6-meter circle. I'm going to ask her just to walk around that. These are all little direct reins. I'm starting to use my inside leg a little bit here as well. Remember, lock, block, and anchor your inside rein. Making little finger adjustments there. And I'm going to have big sweeping arm movements right now. And gently come back towards my hip and across the withers. Now back to the outside. And again, lots of fanning of the inside leg. Bump, 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 bump. I'm not wearing spurs. I'm not being mean. I'm just saying, hey, bend around my leg and keep moving. Bump, 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 bump. Good girl, Katie. So you can see that I've just got a very nice inside bend. I'm going to use the outside rein to the outside to get her to steer off straighter. Gently bring that hand over. And now I'm going to go ahead and use my finger adjustments and put my hands right in my power position and continue to use my inside and outside rein. So I'm just very calmly and very gently sweeping my outside rein against her neck, and she understands perfectly what I'm asking. Keeping my hands in my power position, very gently my orange rein comes across, and out. Good girl, Katie. And now we'll try that in the opposite direction. I've switched my reins so that again my indigo rein will be my inside rein, my orange rein will be my outside rein. I'm going to ask Katie to just go ahead and squeeze into that walk. I'm going to adjust my reins to a little direct rein here. And I'm going to walk my 6-meter circle. This time I'll be fanning my inside leg, which is my right leg, asking her to go on the 6-meter circle. And the reason you want to switch up and use the opposite direction is so that you can understand that your horse will not feel the same way when you switch directions. This is Katie's decidedly bad side here. She does not bend well when I ask her to keep this bend to the right. So I'm going to steer with my outside rein, use my inside leg to keep her moving. I've got my inside rein locked, blocked, and anchored. I have just a little bit of contact on my outside rein, so I don't ever want to just drop that contact on my outside rein because she's just going to make a circle to the inside if I do. Using my outside rein to steer. Now I'm going to do some finger adjustments there. Good girl. Inside leg, outside rein now to steer, steer, steer. Now I'm just going to drop this outside rein See the circle that she'll make? So you need to make sure that you keep some contact on that outside rein, or the default for your horse is that 6-meter circle. Don't forget, if you don't have an inside rein, you cannot steer with your outside rein. That's right, Katie. Neck reining, the ultimate reining technique, no matter the discipline. Neck reining is similar to using your inside and outside reins in that you will influence your horse's balance and direction rather than just steering your horse around. Your neck rein can be broken down into 4 parts. Number 1, assess your horse's nose position. Number 2, apply your neck rein. Number 3, straighten your horse. Number 4, go back to a loose rein and start the whole process again. Let's put those 4 parts into action. I've got Katie walking along my square here, and as I get to my first corner, I want to make sure that her nose is tipped in the direction of travel, and it is, so I can lay my rein upon her neck. Number 3 is to come back over my saddle horn to straighten her out. Number 4 is go back to my loose rein. So number 1, make sure the nose is tipped. Number 2, neck rein. Number 3, come back, straight back with my hand towards my saddle horn to straighten her out. Use a little bit of inside leg here, bump, 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 bump. Number 4, loose rein. The nose is in position, neck rein. Number 3, come back. A little bit of inside leg, press her over, press her over, press her over. Finally, loose rein, fix the nose, lay your rein upon the neck. Come back to your saddle horn, which will straighten or halt your horse. That was great, Katie. Neck reining is not all about holding your reins as though you're carrying an ice cream cone. You still have access to all of your other rein techniques. Your direct rein, your disengage rein, and your inside and outside rein. If I need my direct rein, I can just reach down and give a little bit of a squeeze, and I've got my direct rein. I can also switch over and do it on the opposite rein. I can also, with one hand, just pull one rein slightly tighter with my fingers, or I can use my pinky and ask for my horse's head to come the other way. So there are many ways that you can get your direct rein. If you need to disengage your horse, you can also twist your wrist, but just leave your outside rein to slide through your other hand. So in that case, you would slide up, find your contact, twist your wrist, but allow your outside rein to slide through as you need to. When you're using your inside and outside rein, it can be as simple as when you make your rein adjustment, if you just twist your wrist up one way, then you've already shortened one side of your reins, and your horse's head will go in that direction. So you have not lost any of your other rein techniques. You still have your direct rein, your disengage rein, and your inside-outside rein. When I'm demonstrating the neck rein, you can see that I've got 2 pieces of white tape on my rein. And those pieces of white tape are important because as I neck rein and I lay the rein against my horse's neck, I want to make sure that I'm not putting any pressure on that rein, pulling it this way. If I'm pulling that, I'm actually giving my horse a direct rein. The biggest problem people will have when they're neck reining is, as they're applying the rein on the neck, they put too much pressure on and they cause a counter arc turn like so. So to remedy that, make sure that as you come to your bend, to your corner, fix that nose, just lay that rein on the horse's neck, and to straighten, come straight back over your saddle horn, and then back to your loose rein. Another thing that will really help you when you're neck reining is to make your neck rein very rhythmic. As I'm going to ask her to turn, I'm going to bring my hands over and then back. So I'm cueing and then going to neutral, cueing, going to neutral. And that allows your horse to realize that there is a cue going on, rather than just the dead feel of a rein against the neck. So I'm cueing, going back to neutral, cueing, going back to neutral, cueing, going back to neutral. And I'm still staying current with the rest of my 4 points. So fix the nose. When you're ready, lay that rein on the neck, go to neutral, lay the rein on the neck, go to neutral. Number 3. Number 4 is to go back to that nice loose rein. So now I'm back at number 1, fix the nose, good. Number 2, rhythmically ask for your neck rein. and back to a loose rein, and back to a halt. Wow, in the last five-minute segments, you've learned how to use the direct rein, the disengage rein, the inside rein, along with your outside rein, and you've learned how to neck rein. The only thing that's left is the halt and the backup. The halt and the backup. These are in the same 5-minute segment because they're the same cueing sequence. Let's take a look at the halt and the backup. As my horse is walking, I'm not going to demand a stop. I'm going to say slow down, slow down, slow down, and now I'm going to apply that same cue, slow down, slow down, slow down, slow down, and lo and behold, I get a backup. It's the same cueing sequence. It's very important that you think about your halt as a series of slowdowns and not a stop. You have to remember that your horse has between 800 and 1,200 pounds or more that they need to slow down and come to a balanced halt. If you are pressing or jerking your reins, you're only hindering your horse. Remember, you're asking your horse to slow down, and finally slow down and step into a halt. It's important that your horse squares up when you come to a halt. When your horse is square, that means that their skeleton can carry their weight rather than their musculature, which causes walk-off. It's also very important when you're at the halt, keep your horse straight. So if Katie here would start looking off one way, I would say, no, Katie, you've got to keep your head nice and straight. If she starts looking off the other way, then you're going to fix that. Don't let your horse rubberneck back and forth. That only puts them off balance, and that will make them want to walk off from the halt as well. Don't let them lean on your reins either. Let's take a look at that backup. The first thing that you need to do is make sure that you adjust your reins. It's very important that you keep your hands in your power position when you're backing up. And a lot of times what will happen is as people start to back up, their horse will collect or bring its head into a more collected position, and they fail to adjust their reins. So the next thing you know, they're pulling back here, and the horse isn't doing anything, but now you've run into your own body and you have no more pull on your reins. So what you need to make sure that you do is adjust your rein, go ahead and pull, and now that I'm to the back of my power position, I'm going to adjust my rein, make sure that my hand goes forward, and then I'm going to apply my pressure again. So now I'm going to jiggle my hand, and now I'm going to adjust my rein again so that my hand is going to remain in my power position for my backup. And then when you're finished backing up, just loosen your rein a little bit. You can see that I'm adjusting my rein with my non-neutral hand right there. Another thing to remember when you're backing up is your horse needs to be straight from nose to tail. So if they have a bend, you need to take that out first, then adjust your reins, make sure that your hand is in your power position, and then back up. Also, when you're asking for your backup, don't pull hard. What you want to do is find the point where your horse is locked up and then jiggle your hands. We talked about the jiggle when we talked about the cueing. So find your point of contact and pull, give a little pressure, and if they don't move, then jiggle those hands, and get your horse to unlock their feet. Jiggle those hands, jiggle those hands, jiggle those hands, jiggle those hands. You'll get more speed as well. But don't pull harder. All that does is get your horse to bury its nose into its chest, and then you no longer can ask your horse to back up when that is happening. And that's it. That is the overview of the halt, the backup, and how to manage your horse at the standstill. The secret to successful horseback riding is to manage your horse's bend, no matter the discipline. In the last 55 minutes, you've learned how to control your horse's bend using your direct rein, your disengage rein, your inside and outside reins, your neck rein, and you even learned how to manage your bend at the halt and the backup. And before that, we took on proper rein adjustment, your major adjustment, your hand adjustments, and your finger adjustments. Remember this, the importance of keeping your hands in your power position when you're adjusting your reins and steering your horse. And don't forget, these are not some newfangled methods that I've made up. These are the basic skills that you need to use each and every time that you ride your horse. Finally, check out the extra section. There are additional segments about the power of 5 repetitions, also 4 more segments about keeping your hands in your power position as you're adjusting your reins and steering your horse. For more information, check www.5minutehorselessons.com. Let's try the power of 5 repetitions through all of your rein adjustments. We're going to make your major adjustment, your hand adjustments, and your finger adjustments. Here we go. You're going to start out with your rein like so. Go ahead and grab, lift up your bite. Go down once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. Lay your bite over. Now you're going to switch hands. So go right to your other hand, drop your other hand, come back up, pick your bite up once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, lay your bite over. I'm going to go ahead and start with one hand. I'm going to go to 2 hands, so I'm going to separate, and here we go. I'm going to slide down once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, and then back the other way. Slide it out, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, slide up, make sure that my rein is nice and even. And now to the opposite side, I'm going to come over and pinch, slide down once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, and now the opposite. Slide up once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, separate to 2 hands, go ahead and lift that bite up and place it down. So I'll start with one hand, go to 2 hands, so I make sure that I grab right above my other hand, coming together with my white piece of tape, and get ready, once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, and now opposite. Once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, and then 5 times. Go ahead and bring your hand back together, grab your bite, make sure it's adjusted. That is the power of 5 repetitions. And here we are in the extras, and we're going to talk about the direct rein. I'm going to adjust my rein, separate to 2 hands. And remember, we're working on everything that we've learned so far. So keep your hands in this power position, adjust your rein, find this point of contact, and then cue. Cue. I'm going to try to keep Katie just to the outside of my white line so that you can see where it is all of the time. Feel free to use a little bit of leg here as well. This will help her bend around. When you're using your leg, you're asking her to bend around this leg, and you're also urging her to move forward, so you're getting some impulsion. Again, I'm going to adjust my rein. I guess I'll switch my hands, adjust, place my bite to the outside, separate to 2 hands, slide down, and here I'm going to just give a little bit of a disengage to try to keep her a little closer on that line. Good girl, Katie. So she's a little overbent, but she's moving off in the direction that I want. Here again, I'm going to just disengage, which is the next section. You've probably already looked at it since this is the extras. And keeping your hands in this power position. Try not to oversteer your horse. Try not to understeer your horse. See how your horse drifts? If I cue just a little bit and I oversteer, or in this instance right now, my horse is drifting to the outside, so I have to cue her back to the inside. I have to cue her. But if she's drifting on the circle and I don't need to cue her, then I will not cue at all. So right now I'm just going to give a little cue, and then I'm going to relax. Oh, now I got to give a little bit of a cue. I can feel that she's coming off of my circle. And you can see that I'm not jerking. I'm not being in any way mean. You can see that as I cue, her nose comes ever so slightly in as well. Slow down, and come to a halt. Very nice. Adjust my reins, relax. And now in the opposite direction. Again, I'm concentrating on keeping my hands in my power position, finding my point of contact, and cueing. And it all is very quick, as you can see as I adjust my reins. But I'm adjusting. Now we're a little to the inside, so I'm going to let her drift to the outside. And now I'm going to say, come back. and I'm managing her bend. So now I want her to stay on this arc. So her, from nose to tail, she should be on my arc. I'm using my inside leg to bump her along a little bit. And right now I'm not doing any steering at all. She really is making this circle all by herself. So if you don't need to cue, don't cue. You'll just be over cueing. I'm holding on to my reins with 2 hands because this is, finger adjusting, finger adjusting. Now I'm going to ask her to go forward. And now that my body's on that white line, now I cue and ask her to continue on with that circle. So there's no need to panic if your horse comes off of that circle. Just make your adjustments. Nice and calm, nice and easy. Lots of finger adjusting right there. I'm going to say slow down, ask her to step into square if she can. And then I'm going to adjust my rein and relax. In the extras, working on the direct rein, and we'll work on a square this time. So I'm going to adjust my rein, put my bite down, point my nose and cue, adjust my rein and cue, and straighten with my outside rein right there. Good girl, Katie. Remember, as you approach, make sure that you find your point of contact. Cue, cue, adjust my rein, cue, cue. And this is Katie's slightly bad side. I'm going to adjust my rein, place my bite down, switch 2 hands, find my point of contact, and cue, and straighten with my outside rein. Very nice. So on the straightaway, I don't have to worry too much. Here I can slide down to my point of contact and squeeze, and squeeze. Remember, this is not necessarily a DVD about footfall and timing necessarily, but if you're calm and you're organized when you're cueing, let your horse find that proper foot, which is right now, and then straighten. Very nice, Katie. And I want to make sure that my horse's nose is tipped to the right as I turn to the right, so there it is right there. And by that I mean, if you come to this corner and your horse's nose is out to the left, you need to fix that first and then ask for your turn right there. Here she's walking forward. Again, I'm going to mimic the wrong thing. Her nose is over there. I need to say, please bring your nose in, and now you can cue. So my first task is to fix that nose and then ask my horse to cue and turn. Good girl, Katie. Relax, adjust my bite. Ask her not to lean on my rein. And now direction left on my square for the direct rein. Give her a squeeze, adjust my rein. Go to 2 hands. Find my point of contact and cue, and I'm adjusting my rein as I go. And here I'm gonna just place my bite over to get it out of the way. Walking, remember, if your horse's head is out of position, fix the head position and then cue, all the while adjusting your reins. In order to cue your horse properly, you need to be able to adjust your reins. You can't be fighting your own hands. And a cue, and a cue, and a straighten. Good girl, Katie. And remember, you can always use your inside leg to kind of bump her along a little bit. Let her know, hey, we're going to turn, ready, and cue, and cue. And you can see that I'm adjusting my reins in between my cues. It's very important. Every time that your horse's head turns, your rein is going to shorten. Watch this. Cue. Oh, I had to adjust my rein. And that rein, inside rein, is going to shorten. And the outside rein is going to lengthen. That's why I'm not holding my reins particularly tight. I'm not white knuckling it. I'm cueing. You can see that my outside rein, my black rein, is actually sliding out of my hand as I'm cueing with my inside rein. Fix the nose, fix the nose, fix the nose. Now I can cue. She didn't fix her nose very well, but she started to kind of push her way through that turn. And here again, now I'm going to be a little bit more up front, bumping with my leg, cue, cue. So I really demanded my bend right there. Remember, the secret to successful horseback riding is managing your horse's bend, no matter the gait, no matter the discipline. Here we are in the extras. This is now for the Disengage Rein. And this is using the overhead cam again, or the helmet cam, so you can see how I'm adjusting my reins during these maneuvers. I'm going to go ahead and squeeze Katie into her walk. And I'm going to keep her first on this 10-meter circle. So there I'm really just using my neck rein and I'm putting a little bit of contact on. Oops, here I'm going to have to direct rein her a little bit. Now I'm going to tighten my outside rein, which got her to move back onto that white line here. I'm going to keep the white line just off to my right so that you have a sense of where it is. When you're riding this pattern, you'll want to be right on the line. So here I am, got my bite out to the outside of my horse. I'm going to ask her to go on this 6-meter circle, so I'm reaching down, making my rein adjustment, giving a little cue. Now I'm at my 3-meter circle. I'm going to go ahead and start my 3-meter circle. So there's my greater bend, and now I'm going to take my hand, very gently come up. There's my disengaging. I'm going to make a full circle here. Lots of inside leg, bump, bump, bump. Adjust my rein, make sure my hand is right above that saddle horn. Inside leg, outside leg. Back on the 6-meter circle now. And I'm undoing that which I've done. So I don't want to disengage her and make her go straight, and I don't want to let her drift off in the opposite direction. I want her to realize that she can ever so gently and calmly stretch the left side of her body. Again, all of this side of her body. And you can see that her head is down here. She's stretching her top line. Even though it may look like she's contorted and in pain, it actually is getting her to quiet down and relax. Adjust my rein. And now in the opposite direction, I'm going to go ahead and adjust my rein. And I'm going to ask Katie to move off. Squeezing with both legs, good girl. And now I'll keep her moving. And this will be the disengage rein again. So here we are trying to work this 10-meter circle. And as I'm walking this circle, again, I want to make sure that her head is below her withers, that she's calm, relaxed, and she is just realizing that I'm asking her to stretch, in this instance, the outside or the right side of her body. So there's my 10-meter circle, which is my first bend. Now I'm going to go ahead and get my second bend. I'm going to walk this 6-meter circle, and I'm going to walk the full circle this time. There's no need to walk the full circle each and every time, but as long as you're getting that second bend, then you can go ahead and start adjusting your rein, getting ready to do the disengage. So you can see I'm just doing little direct reins, here we go. I'm adjusting my rein, direct rein, direct rein, direct rein, and now turning that hand up, adjusting my rein if I need to right there. And now back on that 6-meter circle. Ooh, that was the best one yet. And now I'm going to go back out to my 10-meter circle. Good girl, Katie. And just let her undo what I have done. Good girl, Katie. And in the extras now with the inside and outside reins, I'm going to first go ahead and make my bite adjustment, ask Katie to walk forward. And I've got a square and my 6-meter circle here. Again, I'm going to direct rein Katie onto my 6-meter circle. And this is still just a direct rein. I have not taken up my inside rein yet. But here we go. I'm going to get ready to lock and block this inside rein. I'm going to pick up my outside rein and ask her to just move forward. So here we go. I'm preserving my inside bend, and with my outside rein, gently laying that on her neck. And then I'm going to take it to the outside, give her a little bit of inside leg, and that's going to get her to move forward, even though she still has that slight bend to the inside. The square is such a great practice pattern because you get to straighten your horse and turn and get the whole deal here. So here we go. I'm going to lay that rein against her neck. And you can see that I'm not bringing it over very far. I'm not bringing it right over the withers or anything like this. I'm just laying that rein on the neck and getting my turn. I'm really fanning that inside leg. Katie is particularly slow, and she needs a lot of that inside leg fanning. Your horse may need a lot less of that. Good girl, Katie. I was about just coming off my rein there a little bit. And now the inside-outside rein in the opposite direction. So first I'm just going to direct rein through my turn. And I've got my 6-meter circle over here on my right. Let's go, sweetie. Good girl. So I'm going to direct her onto the 6-meter circle. And this is Katie's less good bending side, so I know that it'll be a little bit more struggle for me. There we go. And I'm going to lock and block my inside rein. I'll pick up my outside rein. Finger adjusting right there. Putting a little bit more contact on. And now I can go ahead and lay that rein on her neck. And now back to the outside. I'm going to let my inside rein, my blue rein, out just a little bit right there. So I don't want too much bend. Too much bend is going to cause problems as well. So I'm just laying that rein. You can see that I'm preserving my inside bend, a little bit of inside leg right there. And the reality is you can even get your horse to do a slight yielding off of your leg if you put more leg on as well. And here we go, laying that rein on the neck. And now as I come through, I'm going to just take my power position, keep my hands nice and soft and quiet. And I'm going to very quietly come over. So you can see that I don't have to have gross arm movement, just nice quiet movement will allow you to use that inside and outside rein as well. Adjust your rein. In the extras now, we're going to go ahead and work the neck rein. I'm going to adjust my rein, and I'm going to have a nice loose rein here. Rule number 1, fix that nose. There it is, tipped in the direction of travel, and now I can lay the rein on her neck. Rhythmically, you can see me move it to cue and then come back to center, and now I'm coming straight back over the saddle horn to straighten her out. And again, I'm going to come back and say, straighten out, straighten out, straighten out. Go back to my loose rein, tip that nose, neck rein, rhythmically. Come straight back, ask her to straighten out. I'm using lots of inside leg as well, again for impulsion, and because I want her to bend ever so slightly around that inside leg. Neck rein, neck rein, neck rein, straight back to straighten her just a little bit. And what's happening when I straighten is really my outside rein is engaging and straightening her ever so gently. So the nose is good. Straight back. If you come back too hard with your straight back, you're going to get a halt. Oh, it's terrible. Good girl, Katie. And now in the opposite direction, I'm going to make my rein adjustment, ask Katie to move forward. I know this is Katie's not so good side, so I'll be using a lot more leg and probably a little bit more direct rein. Fix the nose, and now neck rein, rhythmically. Come straight back to get her to straighten out. And now I'm going to fix that nose by just jiggling that inside leg or rein just a little bit. And again, neck rein. Here I'm going to say, oh, you missed the neck rein completely. So I gave her a bit of a direct rein, but it was in time with my cueing of my neck rein. Fix that nose, and get ready. We're going to neck rein. Neck rein, and here we go, straight back. One more turn we're going to look for, and neck rein, gently slow down, and halt. What is a supporting rein? Your supporting rein controls how much bend you're going to allow your horse. In this case, I'm going to ask Katie to bend towards my blue rein. My supporting rein keeps Katie from just coming so far over on her own accord. Some horses have far too much bend. So what would be ideal as you're riding is that as I ask for her to come towards my blue rein, my orange rein keeps her from coming too far over, or more than that, twisting her head. So as soon as I can see Katie's nose and muzzle, I know that my supporting rein hasn't done its job. As I ask her to move her head to the side, I just want to see the outline of her eye on either side. So as I ask her to come to this side, my blue rein keeps from seeing the nose and the muzzle. So my blue rein is the supporting rein when my horse is bent to the opposite side. If I ask again to come towards the blue, that's far enough, Katie. As I'm riding, my reins need to balance between my direct rein and my supporting rein.